Good morning and Assalamu alaikum. You are tuned into Inspire FM 105.1 FM. It's Friday, 21st of June, and the time has now just gone 10 o'clock. Welcome to Mother's Planet, a show where there is always something to talk about in a productive and beneficial way. I am your host, Neelam, and it's going to be a short show this morning as I have a jam-packed weekend and need to get lots prepared. So, inshallah, I am hosting a huge family get together this weekend where it'll be involving my side of the family and my husband's side of the family. So, Alhamdulillah, there'll be lots of noise and chaos, but I'm hoping it will be noise and chaos because everyone's having fun, not because they're having disagreements. I have hosted one of these before, but it was almost 10 years ago now. So it'll be nice to get everyone together, inshallah. So it's in mark of Eid, in mark of a couple of birthdays that my younger children have had. So please pray for me over the weekend and also pray that we have good weather, inshallah, as well. So, listeners, today is the 21st of June. And this is also a very special day because it marks the longest day of the year. So 21st of December is the shortest day of the year. And flip turn to that, 21st of June is actually the longest day of the year, which means there'll be more daylight today than there'll be nightfall. So it's going to be quite a job getting the kids into bed, I think, and out of the garden today because they're not going to see nightfall very soon. So it's going to be quite a job. Now, Alhamdulillah, the weather has been amazing and the sunshine is great. I know the typical British culture is to moan that it's too hot, but I'm actually enjoying the heat. I really like the warmth. It's far better than being wet and cold and having to resort to turning the heating on. I think it's been quite a long and dragged out winter, and it's a much looked forward to sunshine that we've all wanted because it's not been very nice and it's been very difficult to enjoy the outdoors. So I do like to hang my laundry outside and get it dried. And I also like to try and enjoy my garden by trying to get green fingered. So on that note, if any of you have any gardening tips, please do share it with me. I'm forever learning about how to maintain my garden. Still have no idea on names of certain plants and flowers and how much attention they require. But I do have a tip actually, and this was recommended by one of my husband's co-workers, where she just said that it's always hard to find the right compost. So, people buy supermarket brand compost or really well-known companies' compost. She said the best thing to do is to have a mixture. So if you are planting some flowers or potting anything in pots, the best thing to do is to use both multi-purpose compost. So you would use a supermarket brand and a well-known brand and just mix it up and put that in, because then you're ensuring that you're getting the best of both and your plants will last longer. I'm in envy of her because she has lots of flowers in her garden and very well maintained. So that tip that she's recommended is definitely probably something that works because it's working for her. So that's my tip for the day around gardening. Yes, any recommendations, please do share it with me. But watch this space because I'm going to try and get green fingered and actually try and grow my own veg. So I've bought a few pots and seeds for my own vegetables. So I'm going to try and grow them organically. So do wish me luck, and I'll keep you all posted on how I get on as well. So listeners, we are live on air, reaching out to all our listeners in Luton and surrounding areas through the airwaves at Inspire FM 105.1 FM. The show can also be heard on TuneIn via the Inspire FM webpage. And it should also be streaming as an audio on the Inspire FM Facebook page, where you must give the show a thumbs up. and can share any comments around today's topic. I am also taking in WhatsApp messages on the studio number 0779 481 822. So if you have any top tips around gardening or growing my own veg there, how to keep the snails away from my plants, I would love to hear from you. So please do share that with me this morning. Now, in today's show, in light of the beautiful weather, I wanted to talk about keeping safe in the sun and the precautions we can take to prevent serious health issues like sunburn or heat strokes, especially a common one, which is dehydration. And this is for children and adults. It's precautions that we can all take. The forecast has been predicted for the UK to see some beautiful sunshine next week. And I think Tuesday has been going to be hitting the all-time peak of up to 28 degrees, which doesn't sound too hot, considering that places like Saudi Arabia and Egypt are hitting 40 plus. 28 degrees sounds like winter to them, but it's actually quite hot for the UK standards. And so we do need to take some precautions. So any tips and advice that I will be sharing today will be based on my own research and personal experience. Anything further that you require around skin, any heat rashes or any further assistance that you do need, please do contact your doctor or a dermatologist around this as well. So I'm going to go through some points about what we can do to make sure that we are keeping safe and protected in the sun. Now, I've got 4 points. Now, the first one is hydration, which is key in the heat. We have to make sure that we are drinking plenty of water throughout the day when it's hot. Avoid sugary drinks. I know it's really easy to say just stick to water, but sugary drinks can actually make you more thirsty. So it can have an adverse effect rather than quenching your thirst and making you feel hydrated. It can actually have the opposite effect. So avoid sugary drinks. And they can also spike sugar levels and not actually hydrate you. So have watery fruits, things like watermelons, cucumbers, oranges. These have a high water content and can help hydrate the body, and are good fruits to have. I have a good drink for me that I always recommend in all my shows to drink is coconut water. It's one of my favorites. And it's naturally rich in electrolytes such as sodium and potassium, making it the best hydration remedy in the heat, because it has all the salt replacements that our body needs that we are losing through sweat. So it's really good post-exercise as well. So once you've done an exercise or a workout where you've sweated and lost these important minerals, something like coconut water is really good because it will just naturally replace that into the body. It's also low in calories compared to other hydration drinks because it's low sugar content. It's naturally low in sugar. So it's a better alternative than getting the energy hydration drinks. The potassium in coconut can also help regulate blood pressure and support the heart by balancing the sodium levels in the body. So it's really good for anyone that's got blood pressure issues. You drinking coconut water can help balance the sodium levels in your body. And finally, a point to share, it can also help with your skin and the texture of the skin. So really, ultimately, coconut water is a must-have drink. And do look out for the type of coconut water that you are buying, because you can get the organic water, coconut water, which is just coconut water. And then you do have other brands that sell coconut water, which does have fructose. Now, this is an additional added sugar, so it's not needed in there. It does alter the taste of naturally natural coconut water. So anything with fructose in it gives it a funny smell. Years ago, when I was buying my coconut water, I was buying the one with the fructose in it, and I did find that after a while of it being open, so in the same day, it would have a funny smell to it, and the taste was altered. It didn't taste very nice until I brought 100% organic coconut water where there was no additions in it and it was just coconut water. I realized the difference between the fructose one and the normal one. So do keep an eye out on the ingredients. Do check these coconut waters. Some companies add in other ingredients into the mixture, which can alter the taste and also alter the benefits of just 100% coconut water. So do keep an eye out on that. So hydration is just keeping your body well quenched. When it's hot, we are losing heat through sweat. The pores on our skin are open and we are releasing all that water, and keeping yourself hydrated will avoid things like headaches, will also minimize the fatigueness that we feel in the sun as well, which is ironic really, because the sun is actually there as a source of vitamin D to us. So lots of people think, why do we feel more tired in the sun? So there are differences in opinions about what time you should be out and about in the sun as well, which I will come to a little bit later. The next thing I wanted to talk about is clothing and skin protection. So many people feel wearing less in the heat and exposing their skin more is actually helping their skin cool down. This is actually a myth, and in some extreme cases, sun exposure on bare skin can actually have detrimental effects to the skin. If it's not protected correctly, it can cause things like skin cancer, burning of the skin, heat rashes, and very dry skin. So it's really important that you dress well and keep your skin protected in the sun. So I wouldn't recommend elasticated, tight-fitting clothing either. It's actually wearing loose clothes. So things that when the wind blows, the breeze goes through your clothes, and you're actually feeling the air go through your body. It's light, cooler clothes. And these are looser fitted clothing. The type of fabric that you are using as well is really important. So things like cotton or linen, these type of clothing also are very good with the heat, and helps you feel cooler. Polyester and stretchy fabrics are the ones that tend to absorb heat. So do try and avoid those fabrics when you're out and about in the sun. Wear light coloured clothing. Obviously, common sense there. Light colours will absorb less sunlight. So if you're wearing things like black, so apologies to those people that love the colour black, because my eldest daughter is one of them. She loves her deep dark colours, so she loves navy, black. But summer has changed that, and hopefully she's going to be exploring with some colours this summer. But yes, wearing dark colours, the heat is easily absorbed in these. And you can notice this when you put your washing out to dry, that you'll find that the darker colours dry a lot quicker than some of the other colours as well. It also depends on the fabric as well. So if it's, a cotton, thin linen, dark fabric, you may find that actually you feel a bit cooler in it because of the texture of the fabric, and the colour doesn't really impact it then. Wearing sun hats or caps, keeping the head covered from direct heat and sunlight. This can if your head is exposed. Now, particularly people like my dad, where I'm constantly saying to them to keep their head protected, because my dad is bald from the top of his head. So people like that need to make sure that they are keeping their head protected because you don't have the hair on your head, the extra protection. So your skin is directly exposed to the sunlight. So it's really important that you wear caps or sun hats to keep that skin protected. Otherwise, you will find that will burn very easily because that is the most exposed part and to the sun as well. So keep your head protected there as well. Make sure your child is also wearing a hat to school. I was driving to school yesterday when I was dropping my children off, and I still saw children in coats. Now I know the weather dips where we have moments of, clouds, and we have moments of the sun not being there, but ultimately it's hot, and there is not chance of rainfall and snow coming our way. So please do dress your children appropriately for the weather. Clothe them appropriately. School uniforms changed during the summer term, where the children and the girls are allowed to wear summer dresses, and I would recommend that we look into this and clothe our children appropriately for school, because they are spending most of their time at school. So when they're out and about in the playground, they are not feeling too hot. So please do keep them dressed appropriately. And this goes for the younger children that go to nursery as well. Make sure they are wearing the appropriate clothing as well. It's very hard because we've had quite a dragged out winter, and a lot of parents are really skeptical about exposing their children and letting them wear t-shirts, because the slightest breeze you think, oh, they're going to get poorly again. But actually it's getting warmer now, and it's important that we check the forecast and we are dressing our children appropriately. I always think that if they're wearing a t-shirt, just keep a hoodie to hand. So if it does rain, they are protected, and they have some form of coverage as well. So hoodies are great. They're very versatile. So if it does get a bit breezy, they can just chuck on their hoodie. Otherwise, if they're warm, they've got a t-shirt on or something loose underneath. So yes, don't let your child get too hot. So wear sunscreen. Now, this is one that I'm going to keep banging on about. There seems to be, I was talking to my husband about this, and he was under the illusion that certain skin colors and types don't need to have sunscreen. This is all a myth. Regardless of your age, skin color, and texture, you need to protect your skin with some sunscreen. Now, lots of people question when they go to the supermarkets what's the best sunscreen to use. Now, I do question why they have such low factors in the supermarket. And I think the best one to always go for is anything above 30. So 30 and 50, between 30 to 50 is the best coverage that you're going to get. So how you have got to see it is that it's protecting you that many times from the sun. So the higher the factor, the less applications you will have to put on. So if you go for a factor 50 and you apply it onto your skin, you won't have to put it on as frequently as if you go for a factor 10, because it's only giving you 10 times coverage from the sun, whereas a factor 50 is giving you 50 times that coverage from the sun. So you are covered in a bit more layers, whereas in the factor 10, you will need to apply it a bit more throughout the day and continuously to try and reach to the same standard as what factor 50 is giving to you. So I've always stuck with the high factors. I actually stick with factor 50 as it is the highest strength, and I'm confident that it's going to give us all full coverage. Now, when applying the cream, you have to be quite generous. Apply a layer that will actually sit on the skin, so maximum absorption. The BBC a while ago did a program about different types of sun cream. Now you have the supermarket brands, and then you have the top top company brands as well. And there's a huge price difference between the two as well. Ultimately, they are the same. Some children react with, or adults react with certain brands. So just keep an eye out on the ingredients and have a look at to see if there is anything majorly different that you feel your skin could possibly get irritated by. But ultimately, the factor coverage is the same. And it's not what brand you are using. It's actually based on the application. So how you are applying this sun cream on your skin. So it needs to be a thick layer. It needs to sit on the skin. And yes, you will look like you've a clown because you might have some white patches on your face, but that is to show that you've got maximum coverage from the sun. Now, this is obviously if you're going to be sitting in the sun. So if you know that you're going to an outdoor activity which involves sitting outside in the sun, you need to have that kind of coverage. For general wear, if you're in and out, that's house or just popping in and out of the garden, you just need to have your sunscreen on, not in that thick layer. It's only when you are, you can see it on cricket players when they're out playing on the ground. They've got literally white marks across their face, under their eyes, the key areas of where you need to keep yourself protected. And it's generally where the skin is thinner. So yes, under the eyes, the skin is quite thin. Behind the ears, at the back of your neck, these are vulnerable areas of the skin because they're not very thick and they easily get burnt. So it's important to keep those areas covered very well. So you can get creams and sprays. Sprays are probably quite good because you can just spray it on and it gives you a better coverage. But the applying on your face, don't rub it into the skin so it disappears. You need to just almost dab it into the skin to keep yourself protected from the sun. And get water-based, waterproof, that's the word, waterproof sun creams, because these are good because they are more thicker and longer wearing. So obviously when you make wudu and things like that and you've got sun cream, you are protected. And reapply it if you feel that you need to, so you can get smaller tubes so you can keep them in the hand with you as well. So listeners, if you have just tuned in, it's myself, Neelam, this morning, talking to you about how to keep yourself protected from the sun. I've covered clothing and skin protection and hydration so far. I wanted to talk about travel and activities next. Now, try to avoid sun during the peak hours, usually after 12 to about 3 p.m. is when the sun is at its peak, and the sun rays are quite hot during this time frame. So if you are going to travel during this, please do plan ahead and be organized. Make sure that you are obviously sun protected by using the right sunscreen and hydrated and having the right drinks on board with yourself. Leave early to avoid sitting in the car for too long with this heat. Keep babies and young children dressed appropriately when traveling. So this is important, especially for babies and young children that are sitting in car seats. Please do make sure that they are dressed appropriately and not overwrapped. It's easily done, especially young newborns. And again, too much sun exposure to them as well is not good. You can get some really good sun visors that you can put over the sun car seats or on the windscreen of their window of the car that will protect the heat from coming into the car and minimize the amount of heat that's coming through as well. So do that, and don't leave children in the car for too long. So if you are traveling far, stop for regular breaks, get them out, get them to stretch, give them a drink to have, and things like that. Yes, and if you have no tinted windows, sun visors on their windows is the best thing to do. And make sure it's very difficult because the sun changes its direction when you're driving. So try and keep the child sitting in the shade of the car if possible. You can use umbrellas and canopies when you're out and about, and especially if you are spending some time in the park or somewhere where you are exposed to the sun for a long period of time. Umbrellas are fantastic because it gives you shade ultimately as well. So it's not just used to protect you from the rain. Avoid strenuous exercise during peak heat hours and exercising in the sun as well. This can have an adverse effect on your body and make you actually feel more tired and lethargic rather than boosting you and giving you the energy. So avoid midday exercises. Try and do it early in the morning or later in the afternoon, and monitor weather alerts to avoid sitting in traffic. So if there are, weather warnings, weather alerts of it being too hot, plan ahead and avoid traveling during those times. Now, listeners, I have a couple of more points that I did want to mention before the break starts. It's one point actually, but I will mention that after the break, inshallah. And I hope that so far what I have been speaking about has been of benefit. If you have any tips around how to keep yourself protected from the sun and things that people can do to make sure that they are keeping themselves safe in the sun, please do share that with me on the studio number 07779 481 822. I would love to hear from you. Listeners, I do apologize. I forgot to start the show with Eid Mubarak. So I hope everyone did have a blessed Eid. So we are now heading over to a short commercial break. Please do stay with me. Inshallah, I will be completing the show after the break. Assalamu alaikum.
This program will continue after the break. Continue listening to Inspire FM. Inspire FM.
Inspire 105.1 FM.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Malia Bouatia. I was the first Muslim and woman of colour to be elected as president of the National Union of Students. If you want to hear more about the kind of campaigning work that you can get involved with, how you can fight injustice whenever and wherever it manifests near you, then please listen to our show and don't forget to listen in to Inspire FM 105.1.
Attention all electricians, builders and DIY enthusiasts. Capital Electrical Wholesalers are now open in Luton. It's a fully stocked branch with experienced staff on hand to help with all your electrical needs. With branches also in Greenford, Tottenham, Richmond and Ashton. Capital Electrical Wholesalers only stock the biggest names, including JCC, Saxby, Knightsbridge, Hamilton, MK, Wilex, Hager, ACO Smoke Alarms and many more. That's Capital Electrical at Unit M, Kingsway Industrial Estate. Call 01582 801122.
My mum. I love my mum. My mum loves me. Loving and caring is her speciality. She prays to Allah for the Ummah's health, reading the Quran before I sleep. I love my mum. My mum loves me. So thank you, Allah. She does a lot for me.
वेस्टबोर्न फार्मेसी हफ्ते के 7 दिन सुबह 9 बजे से लेकर रात 9 बजे तक खुली रहती है। हमारी सर्विसेज में शामिल हैं ट्रैवल वैक्सीनेशंस, स्टॉप स्मोकिंग, डायबिटीज चेक, बच्चों की ग़िज़ा और बहुत कुछ। लुटन और डंस्टेबल में फ्री प्रिस्क्रिप्शन, पिकअप और डिलीवरी सर्विसेज भी की जाती है। इसके अलावा आप मेडिसिन के इस्तेमाल के लिए फ्री मशवरा भी ले सकते हैं। वेस्टबोर्न फार्मेसी 198 B Dunstable Road, Luton, corner of Westbourne Road. Telephone 01582 419 432.
Are you ready to embark on a journey of purpose and impact? The East of England Ambulance Service is recruiting now. Are you seeking training in a new career or looking for a challenge in development? Start your career for life with East. Apply now for roles in frontline emergency operations, control rooms, support services and non-emergency transport. Visit www.eastamb.nhs.uk and click Join the Team. Make a real difference. Join the East of England Ambulance Service and start your career for life.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. At the time of waking, Alhamdulillahi alladhi ahyana ba'da ma amatana wa ilayhi an-nushur.
55 million face hunger in West and Central Africa, including malnourished children. Can you make a lasting difference in children's lives? Together with the plight of the children of Gaza, let's become a beacon of hope in their time of sheer need. Call the donation hotline now on 014 365 4454 or visit familiesrelief.org.uk and let's save lives together.
From the heart of Bedfordshire in Luton on 105.1 FM. This is Inspire FM News.
Just because you've left your car, it doesn't mean you have to switch off. Keep listening to Inspire FM online or click on your smart TV. Either way, you can stay connected to Luton's best radio station all day and all night.
This is Inspire FM.
From the studios of Inspire FM, the time is now 10:30.
Good morning and assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Mother's Planet. It's Friday, 21st of June, and the time has now just gone 10:30. Excuse me, I have a terrible dry throat, so there we go. There's me going on about hydration, so I need to make sure I'm hydrating myself. Now, listeners, in today's show, I have been talking about how we can keep ourselves safe and protected during the heat and the sun. I've mentioned a few points for those that have just tuned in. It's hydration, making sure that you are drinking plenty and eating those watery fruits and vegetables. And I mentioned watermelon, cucumbers and oranges being the typical ones to have. Also, coconut water being high in sodium and potassium levels, so obviously has all the electrolytes that our body needs when we are losing sweat through our body. Wearing the correct clothing and having skin protection, so wearing loose-fitted clothing. What I did forget to mention with the clothing there is as well as wearing loose clothing, wearing long-sleeved loose clothing is really good because you are protecting your skin from that exposure to the sunshine as well. So direct sun onto the skin. So loose clothing and the type of fabric that we wear as well. So cotton or linen is good. Things like polyester or stretchy fabrics tend to actually absorb heat more, so will only make you feel hot. And if you are traveling or any activities like exercise, avoid doing during the peak heat hours, which is between 12 and 3, either exercise first thing in the morning, early in the morning, or very late on in the afternoon. And make sure that you are using being aware of the travel when you are traveling, the traffic, and so that you're not sitting in the car for too long, and that young children that are sitting in car seats are well protected and dressed appropriately as well. And if you are traveling far, do stop off wherever you can at a service station and get everyone out, give everyone a stretch and, a wiggle, and then get back in the car, have a drink, have a break. So do take those breaks as well. Now, the last couple of points that I wanted to mention is the vulnerable. Now, vulnerable being young children like babies, where they can't tell us when they're feeling hot. And so we have to really be alert. And it's quite scary because a baby, regulates its body temperature very differently to how adults do. And most of their heat is lost through their head. So in the winter, we are asked, to keep their head protected, make sure they are wearing hats so that they are not losing the heat and they are retaining that heat and their body is kept warm. Now, in the summer, it's the same thing. They are losing that heat through the head, but the sun exposure on their head is actually absorbing that heat So it's making them too hot as well. So it's really important that they are wearing caps. And, you know, there's some really beautiful little sun caps that you can get for babies out there. So just make sure that we are keeping their head protected. And the most important thing is just keeping their skin very well sun protected. So using the right sunscreen. And I mentioned anything above factor 30 is giving your child and yourself the best coverage from the sun. So also check in on your neighbours or the elderly, because these again are vulnerable people. So during the hotter days, ensure they are keeping hydrated. And even if they are not actually directly exposed to the sun, so even if they spend most of their time at home and they are not out in the garden, or they don't go out shopping, or they're not out and they're not actually in the direct heat, it's important that you check in on them to make sure that they are keeping hydrated and eating well. Sometimes, just like when it snows and it's really bad weather, the elderly sort of coop themselves up at home and avoid going out because it's too hot. So, you know, they might need some shopping, they might need some things around the house. So pop in, have a chat, check in on them, and ask your neighbours how they're doing as well, and if they would like anything from the supermarkets. So just keep an eye on them, because again, the young and the vulnerable are the two that will just remain silent, and we won't know how they're feeling. So it's really important. So the key one to keep alert on is not leaving young children in the car, because temperatures in the car can rise very quickly and actually become very life-threatening. So it's really important that we are keeping an eye on our children in the car. I know many cars have ACs as well, so it's quite. I've mixed opinions about AC, because while I do use it in my car, the minute you get out in the heat, you feel the heat more, and I find that it's jumping from an extreme temperature to another extreme temperature, and that's not good for your body either. So when you're in a nice, cool, cold car and then you step out into the heat, it's like stepping in from a freezer to an oven, and that drastic change for our body to try and adjust to is not healthy either. So I do recommend that we don't rely solely on the ACs in the car to keep it totally cool. But if you are doing long journeys where it's, you know, needed, turn it on and off every now and then. But as I recommended, that, you know, if you are doing long journeys, stop, take those regular breaks, have a drink, cool yourself down, and stretch, and keep alert. Now, the one that I wanted to mention, which is my last point, about after sun exposure. So many of us feel that we are covering ourselves for the sun and protecting ourselves in the sun. But what we are forgetting to do is actually, when we've come away from the sun, what do we need to do at that point then? And many of us are forgetting then that there's actions that we need to take as well. So there is an after sun care process and after sun exposure process as well, especially if you sat somewhere in a park or in a beach where you've been exposed to the sun for a long period of time. It's important that you are addressing these things when you come in from the sun. So the first thing to do is to re-moisturize the skin and soothe it. So soothing lotions is the best thing to use here. So you would use, you can get some cucumber-based gels, applying something like that, or one of the best ones for after sun exposure is aloe vera. Aloe vera is really good for after sun exposure, because if the sun has been burnt or been overexposed to the sun, the skin has been overexposed to the sun, the aloe vera will soothe the skin and moisturize it so that it can help there. Also, make sure you are drinking. So again, hydrate yourself, drink plenty of water, and make sure that you are using the right types of water. My favorite one being the coconut water. So make sure you are having the correct hydration drinks as well. And also your lips. Lots of people forget to moisturize their lips or use sun protector on their lips. Your lips are needed to be need to be protected as well. So make sure you are protecting your lips as well. And the last thing to do when you've been sitting in the sun or exposed to the sun is keep an eye on your skin. So do regular checks on your skin and examine your skin, because one of the things that's missed during sun exposure is any change in the skin texture or any additional moles or anything like that that your skin didn't have before, but after sitting in the heat for a certain period of time, you've discovered a mole or a mark or a patch or any form of a change to your skin or its texture. Do contact your dermatologist or doctor and speak to them about that, just to address any issues early on, and make sure you are protecting your skin. So listeners, that's my points for how we can make sure that we are protecting ourselves from the heat and the sun over the next few weeks, when we are going to be exposed to quite lovely weather. So as much as it's nice to enjoy the sunshine, it's really important to make sure that we are correctly protecting our skin. And this becomes more important as you age. So while we keep layering on the sunscreen on the children and forgetting ourselves, adults, mums, parents, everyone out there, don't forget yourself. Actually, your skin is more susceptible to sunburn and skin damage through the sun rays, because it's older and we don't have the elasticity and collagen in our skins like young children do. So not to say that we don't need to protect the young children. We still need to keep their skin protected so that when they reach our age, they've got good skin. And but we do also need to protect our own skin. So parents, do remember to put that sun protector on yourself after you. And I'm guilty of this, because I stand there with my pump and I'm pumping it on my hands and I'm rubbing it in all of them one by one, and then I just jump out the house and I totally forget to moisturize and protect my own skin. So do stop and take that 2-3 minutes out on yourself as well and protect your own skin as well. So listeners, I have come to the end of my show now, and I hope that all that I have shared with you this morning has been of benefit, inshallah. Please do stay safe in the heat wave during the next week or so that we are going to have. Lovely weather, and have fun. Get the water guns out, let the children have their water fights and paddling pools. While all these things are there for us to really enjoy the outdoor space and our outdoor gardens, it's really important that we are protecting ourselves and the young children with the correct clothing, the correct foods, drinks, and sunscreen. So I hope I have shared everything that has been of benefit to you all. And I am going to bid you all farewell and a lovely Jummah Mubarak. There will be some nasheeds playing to the end of the show now for you to just kick back and enjoy your Friday afternoon. And I hope that you all have a wonderful Jummah. And any tips that you do have, please do share it on the Facebook page of the show. I'm sure many people will benefit from these. But for now, I am going to leave you with some nasheeds from myself. I wish everyone a lovely Jummah Mubarak, and do remember me and the team in your du'as. And Assalamu alaikum.